All right. So on today's podcast, guys, we're going to have a very special guest, close friend of mine. He is a jiu-jitsu practitioner, a mixed martial artist overall, police officer, um, veteran, super special guy. We're going to get into some things dealing with, obviously, martial arts, how he has used that to cope with things in the force, in the military, the transitions that he has made um, from those individual careers, using stuff that he's learned on the mats to help him cope with things that he was dealing with on the job, and just kind of overall how this guy who, like I said, is a close friend of mine and a really good person, has dealt with different issues. And let's get into it. Cool. All right, I want to thank everybody for tuning in today. I've got a very special guest on, a good friend of mine. He is a current law enforcement officer, so there will be some information that we don't directly talk about. We'll just be referring to him as Dave. Dave is former military, current law enforcement, jiu-jitsu practitioner, mixed martial artist. I'm super happy to have him on the show today. We're going to talk about just how martial arts translates over into his law enforcement career, um, coping with the different things that he sees while he's on the job, and just have a good conversation and maybe put some knowledge out there. How you doing, Dave? It's good to see you,
Uh,
man.
Man, it's good to see you too, man. It's always a pleasure, Greg.
Cool. Well, I wanted to have you on the show today. I've known you for quite a while now. Um, been on the mat with you uh, a lot.
Yeah,
Gotten
dude, probably about off and on. I'd say about 8 years, man.
Yeah,
I mean, we've been on the mats off and on
yeah,
together.
yeah. It's yeah. You were there when I first started, um, and I mean, you've been a big part of my journey in martial arts. You've seen me get ready for competitions.
Oh,
You've
absolutely. Yeah.
choked me out quite a few times. I've returned the favor once or twice.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
yeah. So first, why don't you tell people? Let's start obviously before law enforcement was the Navy, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, tell us about that, like how you got into that, what you did, and then besides it being the Navy, what was that like for you?
So, yeah, I grew up on a poultry farm, like way out in, like the sticks in Tennessee. So grew up on a poultry farm, and yeah, it was good work. It's honest and it put food on a table, but it's one of those things that you just don't really have a lot of freedom with. Unfortunately, there's no vacations or anything
Right.
like that as far as you know explore the world. So I tried to Cleveland State, tried to go to college for a little bit, and it just wasn't working out. The time I was young, I wasn't really that mature to really
So
just
what
want to go
did
to
what did
class and
you what
stuff.
did you enlist college for? What was the plan there?
It, at first, it was communications because
Okay.
I wanted to make movies. I wanted to be a filmmaker, and
Right.
but I worked at a movie theater while I was in high school, and that was my thing, watching movies and stuff. I was dating a girl at the time that wanted to be an actress, and it was just, you know, it just really just. I'd never held a camera in my life.
Right.
It's one of those things that it looked a lot easier than what it was. Yeah, it's one of those things you look at. You think you can hold a camera and you can just make a movie. That's not the case,
Yeah, I'd say
obviously.
there's a little bit more to it than that if I had to
Oh, absolutely.
guess.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was doing that, and then I just didn't really have the discipline to go. And I was working at Duracell during the summer third shift, and just kind of down and didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life. And my mom looked at me and she says, "No matter what, Dave, you will always have a job on this farm." So I knew how to get the fuck out for a little bit. When she said that, God love her, it's always always something you want to extend to your kids and stuff. A great woman, but I realized I was like, dude, if I don't get the hell out of here, man, I'm gonna be stuck on this farm. So my grandfather was in the Navy,
Right.
and he was a pattern maker. He went during the Korean conflict. So
Okay.
I was like, I'll join the Navy. and I thought I was going to be a SEAL and all this other stuff. I ended up just going to Pensacola, going to boot camp in Great Lakes. I enlisted as a aviation bosun's mate handler, which means I kind of just I worked with flight patterns and stuff on the flight deck. You know, made sure that the planes were secured to the pad eyes and everything like that on the flight deck, and just helped with like their flight patterns as far as movement on
Right.
top, getting them ready for takeoff, and then putting them back up when they landed and stuff like that. So nothing great, but it was a lot of long hours.
You weren't in the
Probably
kitchen, so that's good.
I was in a kitchen for we did
Oh
so
shit.
every so, no, so
I've
yeah,
heard that. I've heard that sucks.
yeah,
So
see, oh dude, they fucking bent me over a few times. They had so every 4 months, or not, sorry, every for 4 months out of your career, at least once. I thought I was going to skate by without it, but we have to do a duty called cranking, which is where we go to the mess decks for 4 months and wash dishes and shit.
oh, so
And
you're
that
just in there dying.
oh god, it sucked. It sucked, dude. It was I had a disdain for the supply division, which is what it fell under, was supply division. It's yeah, and I had some disdain for those guys for a while. You know, real god complex. But I mean, I liked everyone I worked with. Got to see a lot of cool stuff. I've been
Right.
to Dubai twice.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, went to Jelly Bali, Dubai twice. Crete, Ceuta Bay, Greece was cool. Bahrain, Marseille, France. You know, of course, my A school was in Pensacola, Florida. Went to boot camp in Great Lakes.
Did
Luckily, I
you
went
do?
there.
Did you? I was about to say, did you do winter? I used to live in Michigan, so did you do? Did you do winter or
No,
summer?
so
Okay,
yeah,
you
so
got off
I
easy then.
my recruiter actually gave me a heads up. It's like, dude, don't go
Yeah.
in the winter
Don't.
time.
Yeah.
Okay, you're gonna hate your
Yeah.
life. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's
but don't
what
do
they'll
it.
tell you. I know, like with the
Yeah.
Marines, they'll say, "All right, do Camp Lejeune in the winter. Don't go in the summer."
Mhm. Yeah, fortunately, my recruiter did that much. But I don't
Right.
really have anything bad to say about my recruiter.
Right.
Just that's what it was. So I mean, it's real cool. I was stationed in Virginia Beach for the majority. Virginia Beach, Norfolk, Newport News area. You know, basically Hampton Roads area of Virginia.
Right.
Um,
Now, when you went, was the plan at first for you like, all right, I'm gonna do 4 years and then I'm gonna get out, or are you like, I may do this, as a like lifelong? What was the was there a plan or?
Dude, there was no plan, honestly, man. I just kind of flying by the seat of my pants. I mean, like I said, I thought that I was going to go in. I was like, man, I'm just going to sign this contract. I'm going to be a Navy SEAL.
Yeah.
Once again, young and naive.
Well, and I think that's what a lot of guys think. They're like, all right,
Yeah,
I'm gonna go in. I'm gonna go SEAL. That's
yeah.
my best friend and brother-in-law. He was a corpsman in the Navy, and he said that that's a lot of the guys are just like, oh, I'm gonna go be a SEAL, and then it's like, I'm gonna get the fuck out of here is what I'm gonna do.
It happens to a lot of guys. But
Yeah.
I mean, like I love the Navy itself. I just didn't really particularly care for my job. I mean, it's just really loud. I've lost a lot of hearing in my left ear. Actually, I'm on disability for my hearing and
Right.
tinnitus and stuff. But yeah, so I did that, and then while I was in, I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna find a way to get out of this division. I am going to reclass, uh, is what the other branches would call it. You know, I was going to switch my rate. You know, they call um, I don't really know what the other branches call them, but our jobs in the Navy were called rates.
Right.
And I was going to say, I just want to, I want to swap my rate, go through that. And they just kept telling me, I'll get your air warfare pin and stuff, and we'll do this. Make E4, make petty officer third class, and we'll think about switching. I did all that shit, and then just like kept going. And I wanted to go be a gunner's mate, which is someone who worked on, worked on your firearms and stuff.
Right.
Um, you know, kept maintenance up with them and stuff, but they were one of the people that could go, they were one of the types of rates that could do an enlistment, what they called a Rivron, which was basically like they called it a riverine squadron, where you could just kind of get in those freshwater boats and
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
trolls and stuff like that. And
Gotcha.
that was really cool. But it was that meeting those guys. There was a base called Little Creek in Virginia, and they held what they called smokers matches. I got my ass whooped, Greg. I got the shit kicked out of me. But a lot of my good buddies, man, Daniel Silva and Matt Wagner, and a bunch of other people, man, Bustos, and all these people I was with, man. We did these you know, because of it. Silva got really, really great into boxing. He was good at it too, man. He was a Hispanic kid from Los Angeles, man, and he had them hands, dude.
Right.
I just quick, and he's strong,
So these
just a freak.
so these like early matches went ahead and kind of put in like, all right, I've got some kind of interest in martial arts, hand to hand combat,
Yeah, well,
something. So it was already there.
yeah, I did Taekwondo as a kid, but as you get
I
older, you're
got you.
kind of like, dude,
That
whatever.
shit's
Like it's
dumb. I did this. I
yeah,
did Ishinru, and I look back on it now, and I'm like, I'm so glad. I'm so lucky that I wasn't like, I'm the fucking Karate Kid, and then somebody just beat the shit out of me.
oh yeah, dude.
I
Like
got
it's like
lucky.
Joe Rogan says, like you got that spin sidekick that you can really fuck somebody up with
Yeah,
in Taekwondo. But
that's about it.
that's about it. Yeah, at
Yeah.
least in my opinion, man. I mean, Joe Rogan would probably fuck me up, with just Taekwondo and none of his
Well, yeah,
Muay Thai
but
or Jiu-Jitsu or anything. If he
but
just
the thing
reverted
is
back to that.
like, I think that the issue that I have with that stuff, and not to like veer off course, but
Hmm.
people ask me all the time, and I'm sure they ask you too, because they know like my background. They're like, all right, I want to put my kid in something. What should I put my kid in? And I'm like, not Taekwondo. And they're like, well, why not? And I'm like, because when somebody punches your kid, somebody doesn't go, all right, point, stop, let's
Yeah,
reset. That's not how it works. And I think that whole like point style fighting, that's honestly why any competition as far as jiu-jitsu goes, I like submit only. Like I just
same.
I wasn't big on point style, so
Yeah, man. Because I mean, if you took side control, man, all you had to do was fucking hold
just hold
side
it.
or
Just hold
knee
it.
on belly, all that good stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So
So,
you've
yeah.
got the Navy, and then like when did you know you were like, all right, I'm gonna get out, and like how did that transition start going?
So yeah, like I said, so the boxing thing kicked off. We were doing that. Um, of course, I had the stereotypical Navy habits, man. I fucking smoke and drank,
Right.
and I smoked and drank and everything else. But a bunch of buddies of mine, it's like you're in the service for the people after a while. You get to, like Veterans Day today, man. I probably had there's probably people that I haven't talked to in a year since last Veterans Day that called me today. It's like, man, just thinking about you, dude. I mean, like Silva, I just talked
Awesome.
about him, and he literally just called me today, and we probably talked on the phone for about an hour just catching up. But I knew when I realized I was going to be stuck in V1 division, which was the aviation field, and I just like, a lot of the loud and the aircraft and stuff, it just wasn't for me. It's not what I wanted to do. I was trying to do something I wasn't even trying to get off a ship. I would probably have gone to like a destroyer or something so I could see more places. But
Right.
um, I just wasn't happy with the job that I had. I liked the Navy itself, but just the job that I had, I just knew that's like, I don't want to do 20 years of this job and I'm going to lose all my hearing, which there's some dudes that did it. There's some guys that retired from it, and they're just completely fine. But I just wasn't happy with the job, so I thought I would just take my chances with my GI Bill, and so I moved around the country for a little bit and um, got out after that. But that's about it. I mean, as far
So
as
so you get out, you move around for a bit, and then was the plan like, okay, I'm gonna come back to Tennessee and become a cop, or was there like
so no, the plan was not to move back to Tennessee at all.
right,
So I had a good friend named Roger Good. I was in the Navy with. Good dude. made better friends with his roommates and his childhood friends. But he's from Houston, Texas, and I was like, dude, I was going to stay. I was dating a girl at the time, and we were going to. Obviously, it didn't work out. Like within, like I was, like shit just didn't work out when we were. I was learning how to do everything. Like, cause I mean, the military kind of spoils you, man. I mean,
Well, they
in
put
a
you in a
way, they kind
routine. They tell you
of,
you don't have to do
dude, yeah,
anything.
they make your appointments for you.
Right.
You know where to be and stuff like that. Now you're doing all this shit on your own. So it was a big adjustment for me. And, you know, nothing wrong with my ex or anything like that. Hope she's happy, all that good stuff. But, yeah, she just, we were both young and we just didn't know how to handle it. So we had split up and I was like, okay, well, I'm not staying in fucking Virginia Beach. I'm not staying in Norfolk for if I'm not going to be here for somebody. And I was
Yeah.
like, I'm not going to stay here. So I did my um, couple semesters at the community college at Thomas Nelson Community College in Newport News, Virginia. And my buddy Roger was like, dude, just come down here. And he lived in Houston, Texas. So I moved to Houston and I started working for a security company called West Tech Security, and I guarded the Astro Stadium, the Houston Astro Stadium at the
Okay.
Minute Maid Stadium. I did that, and it paid like shit, but they had a lot of overtime.
Right.
And the plan was when I got out, I was like, I'm gonna be a cop. I knew I wanted to be a cop and do something like that because I didn't really get to have the high speed stuff when I was in the military. So I was like, I'll try the civilian world. I'll try to go into law enforcement and do all that. So Texas, great state, love Texas. I'm not talking shit about them anyway, but they were having trouble um, they wanted me to wait 2 years before I could go to school and get enrolled in all this shit because out of state tuition and stuff. And I was under the, once again, naive. I was young. I was 24 at the time, about 20. No, I was 25 by the time I got to Texas. And I said, well, I wanted my degree before I went into law enforcement. And with the degree portion of it, it was like, well, we want you to be a resident of Texas for at least a year before you fucking start
Rep-
your degree because
yeah.
of out of state
Essentially
tuition.
represent you too.
Yeah, yeah. Well, like I said, because other than that, I would have had to pay out of state tuition fees, and
Gotcha.
the GI Bill wouldn't cover the out of state
Gotcha.
portion. So I applied for Los Angeles Police Department, moved up, lived up there for about a month, and that's a long process, man. That's a long hiring process. I just couldn't afford to stay out there.
Oh yeah, I
Came
can only
back to
imagine.
yeah, came back to Houston. Came back to Houston, tried that, and I just got so defeated and like tired. I was tired of being broke and um, my lifestyle there. So it's just time to come home.
Gotcha.
Finished out school and got hired on out here.
Okay. So you're back here. So how long have you been a cop now?
So March will be 9 years.
9 years. So you come back here. What did you do? Like I know they have a program at the college. Is
Yeah.
that what
So
you did?
yeah. So I came back, same mentality. I'm a get my degree and go ahead. So I was working at Applebee's, man. I was working at
I
Applebee's
forgot you.
bartending.
I forgot you were a
Yeah, I was
bartender.
working at fucking Applebee's, dude.
I
And that
remember
was
that. I
that was
remember
probably the
that.
lowest point in my life. I was like, dude, I used to work with like $1 million aircraft and travel the world.
Now I'm
And
making vodka and tonics for
you know,
assholes.
well, oh yeah, dude. I mean, I liked Applebee's as far as I made decent money there.
Right.
But I was like, dude, I'm wearing this fucking stupid. I was like, I'm wearing some Crocs right now, and so I'm wearing some Crocs. I ain't got no hair. I ended up having to shave my head and stuff. And I was like, wearing some Crocs. I'm not. I used to travel the world, man, and manage $1 million aircraft. And here I am, pushing a 2 for 20 on somebody.
Ugh.
But which is still nice. I'll eat that two
Nothing
for
wrong.
20.
Nothing wrong with a
Yeah,
2 for 20
yeah.
every now and then.
I still fuck with it. But did that and I realized I was like, dude, I'm 27 years old at this point. And I was like, I better start I was 26, almost about to turn 27. I was like, dude, I got to fucking start somewhere. So I took my job bill, got accepted to the police academy and that's where you can kind of get in this area. You can get hired at a bunch of different departments,
Yeah.
and I completed police academy, and then March of 2016, I started my patrol career at sheriff's office where I'm at now, and had a good time with it. And I've in CID, which is the criminal investigation division. I've been in it for the past 2 years. I got hired on that August of 22.
Okay.
Was
So, like when you were 7 years essentially of just like patrol, street, just all that crazy bullshit that we hear about. What was that like?
It was fun, man. Patrol's fun, dude. That's where your action's at. I mean,
Right.
if you're a go getter and stuff like that, man. I mean, there's people I know that want to spend years on patrol, everything, and I still have fun. I mean, I still get out there and get it every now and then, with my people. I've been on SWAT for the past this coming summer of 2025. We'll make 7 years on the SWAT team here. I'm a breacher with them.
Okay.
That
Now,
SWAT's probably obviously SWAT's my favorite part of the
yeah. Well,
job, but
I know your personality, so obviously, like, we're not gonna say like what department you work for, but like
yeah.
I know what department you work for, and I know there's been some pretty wild stuff that's been down. So like those first 7 years where you're just like out there in the car every day, those long shifts, like how did like I guess first like when did jujitsu like start for you? When did that start? Is that as soon as you
And
got back here, or was it after, or did
I've
you
been on the
try?
force. I was on the force for about a year, and I just kept saying, I was getting fat and out of shape, man. I mean, I'd come home, drink beer and shit like that, and I mean, you're sitting in a car for 12 hours a day. Your lunch break consists of like going through a drive-through,
Right.
or because I'm sorry, man, like you get bored sitting in that car. You can pack your lunch all you want to, but when you're sitting there bored, like you start your shift at 6:45 in the morning, your lunch is gone by 9 a.m. because you're fucking bored sometimes.
Yeah.
And
So just stopping and getting out and going inside
oh,
Taco Bell is a nice
yeah,
break.
Taco Bell, man, getting in there and going to like gas stations and stuff like that. I mean, getting, you know, energy drinks and just like, you're just kind of hard on your body. And, um, just going to work, going home, and then you're just like, fuck, I don't really want to work out. And so my youngest brother, Eli, he was doing Muay Thai and jiu-jitsu, mostly Muay Thai. He was a Muay Thai kid. Excuse me. He was a Muay Thai kid, and I was like, man, I've got at that point I've gotten hold of a few people, just for our viewers and stuff and listeners. Okay, well, where I live and where Greg and I live, this is a predominantly like very, very, very prestige grappling town with wrestling. Yeah,
Yes. Very.
that is our sport here in where we live,
Yeah.
and
I
that is
know some.
wrestling.
I know some dudes that are straight up like.
Killers.
I know some guys that have got criminal records, and I've always thought like, all right, I know they've had a run in with the law, and I know they were also like a fucking good division wrestler. And I'm like,
Exactly.
I can only imagine just the random like, I'm gonna be a cop, and then it's like, okay, cool, you're gonna try and take me down. No, it's game over, dude. So
Exactly. So I knew that's what I was up against, man. And it's
yeah,
happened to us a couple of, there'd be like two or three of us. And I'm like, and I like, it's not even just the grappling ability, man. They have that muscle memory of like, just like that muscular endurance.
yeah.
Like their body just doesn't get tired from just like tossing motherfuckers around.
Well, and they're used
And
to the adrenaline, so they don't like they
yes.
don't they're used to competing, and then they get into a tussle. They don't adrenaline dump,
Oh,
and then you've got majority of your police officers like I'm not gonna
Well,
say
I think,
all
yeah.
of them, but a lot they don't have any of that experience.
Oh yeah. Well, like I said, and I'm not trying to skip ahead or anything, but I also teach defensive tactics at the police academy that I've trained at. I'm a defensive tactics instructor up there, and one thing we'll tell you is like, guys, but especially when your adrenaline's up, you got 15 seconds of burn time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when you're like, you got 15 seconds of like just explosive energy where you can just put all out before you start becoming really fatigued with your cardiovascularly. uh your muscles start to really fatigue, and that's when you start like just kind of going downhill in the fight. That's why most fights, at least street fights, they're between 15 and 30 seconds before someone gets knocked out.
Yeah, yeah. So you decide, all right, I'm gonna get back into shape. Your brother kind of puts you on that path, and you start your jujitsu career. So where I don't I'm rocking it right now. I got the old Killer Bees shirt on here. Where did your jujitsu career start at?
And American Killer Bees, just like
Okay.
you, man.
Shout out
They're,
to our boy David. I'll tag him in this. Mr. David Robbins. I haven't spoken to you in a bit. I hope you're doing well. Yeah, yeah. So you started out over at the old one. I'm not gonna say
yeah,
like addresses and
yeah.
stuff like that, but so that was you started there. Now, did you know him, or was somebody going there that you knew, or you just
So yeah,
Googled it?
my youngest brother,
Okay, so
he
he was
trained at
training at
Tommy's
Killer
gym.
Bees. Oh, he
Yeah,
trained at Tommy's before.
yeah, and then they
Okay.
moved over to Killer Bees. Yeah, I never trained at Tommy's, but yeah, so did all that stuff. Yeah, did all that stuff, and yeah, trained under all those guys and everything, and all. Man, just dude, going to those fights. You remember what it's like going to those fights and stuff like
Oh
that.
yeah, yeah.
And
So
yeah,
now you start training there, and like how long was it before something happened where you were like, okay, I'm in whatever altercation. Holy shit, jujitsu is actually helping me right now. Like, do you remember a time when that happened, or a specific like altercation where you were like, oh my God, I just used what I learned in the gym and it actually like helped me?
oh yeah, a few times. A lot of this is just a lot of control stuff, hooks in and everything. I mean, we had a couple tussles where someone get my hooks in. Dude, Kimuras are gold in my job.
Even just using like the Kimura grip itself,
Yeah,
I'm
the
sure.
Kimura grip. Back when I was on patrol, we had a guy that was having a schizophrenic episode. Was holding a knife to his grandmother's neck. It's behind him. Well, my lieutenant snuck up behind him and tased him in the back, and because he was able to like walk around and flank him behind a truck. Well, he locked up. He still had the knife in his hand. I was able to get it out, but he was like, every time the taser, you only get like five at the time. Those tasers, you click it and would send a shock for like 5 seconds,
Right.
and um, at the end of the 5 seconds, they had fight back in them until you shocked them again. Well, um, after that 5 seconds, the fight was on, and yeah, just I was able to already get in position for Kimura and just hold it there till a couple partners of mine were able to get the other arm. Um, we had a theft suspect. This was while I was a CID. It was about a year ago. At Walmart, saw him out, and he took off running. I chased him down. Just did like a basic. No, not even real. I wouldn't even call it a takedown, man. Just grabbed him out. We kind of went to the ground, and I was able to pull his arm up. Take side control, pull his arm up,
Okay.
take Kessa, and then
The big man position. That's my
oh yeah,
favorite. That's fine.
yeah, yeah, and then I was able to drag him up and do put him in a Kimura grip and tell him to put his hands behind his back. So I mean, it's pretty useful, man. I mean, it's almost like a superpower as far as just controlling
And
somebody.
yeah, I've heard a lot of guys say that it is a superpower, and I think a lot of it, like obviously learning the techniques and everything is super important, but also just the if you take your average police officer, how often do you think they get into an altercation like that? Probably not that often. Whereas if you're training jujitsu, you're at least 2 or 3 days a week. You're constantly in that state of someone on top of you, on top of someone. You become way more comfortable in it. I remember growing up, getting into fights and just being like a nervous wreck, getting sick. But then after I started training, I was so used to the like adrenaline dump and things like that that you become way more comfortable. You slow down. You learn to think. You don't panic. And I think that helps honestly just as much as actual like techniques. They're
And I agree with
important.
you because I mean, because at the same time, I mean, yeah, I mean, yeah, you're rolling and stuff. It takes a lot of it takes a lot of striking and stuff like what could really happen. But I mean, you don't realize like even though you're just rolling like on the mats and you're just rolling, and I mean it's like a simulation, if you will.
Right.
And someone's got a good mount on you, and they're pressing their pelvis and your sternum and your diaphragm and everything, and you're or knee on belly, and you just can hardly breathe. You got someone I remember tapping the pressure and stuff when I first started. It's like, man, fuck, get off of me, goddamn.
Yeah.
And but now it's just like someone can put a lot of pressure. I mean, yeah, while albeit uncomfortable,
No,
you
you're
can,
gonna be okay.
yeah, you're like, yeah, I got my options here. Now you wouldn't really have those options on the street. Now you don't want to get punched in the face. I
True.
said you gotta, you're gonna have to get moving. But I mean, you're tired. You can still. It's like okay, if I even though I'm in the street, you're like I'm tired. But if I can keep this position, this dominant position, I can be all right for a minute until
Now,
someone can help me or
like obviously, I've got besides you, several friends that are officers and also do martial arts as well. There's a lot of mental. I know you guys struggle. I mean, we all struggle, but I know with a
oh yeah.
job like yours, it's even exponentially worse. Did getting into jujitsu actually help your mental state dealing with the things you
Oh, dude,
saw?
yeah, huge stress reliever, huge. I mean, it's a lot like working out and stuff, which I've started weightlifting a lot here lately too, on top of training. But
Yeah, you've definitely in the past, I would say 2.5 years, I've seen you go from just like a bigger guy that does jujitsu, where I would see you in the gym actually like lifting weights, pushing a sled, like taking. I think a lot of people, and I'm guilty of this myself, being like, all right, I'm getting better at jujitsu. I don't necessarily need to do other things, but if you incorporate, take somebody like Royal, who's a
monster,
specimen. Yeah,
monster.
he would be amazing at jujitsu just because he's good at jujitsu. But then you factor in like his conditioning and the shape that his body is in. And I've seen you start to do that as well. And as I watched you incorporate other stuff into your training, your jujitsu improved as well.
Oh,
So
I
I just,
appreciate that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, man.
Diet's still shit, by the way. Just I'm not sure. So y'all know, yeah, I'm still out here doing eating shit I ain't supposed to be eating.
I mean, we're guilty of it. I'm sitting here drinking. I don't know if I can do that, but orange soda when I should have a water. But and that's the big thing. And you know a lot of the stuff that I've been through, and a lot of people do mentally. Jujitsu, it helped with my anxiety, and I want to know like, do you think at one point there was a law that was up for debate about jujitsu training for police officers, and I think it would be beneficial so they are like able to detain people safer and protect themselves more. But do you think that the actual mental benefits of it are even you know outweigh the physical? I mean, did it help that much mentally? You're dealing with a terrible day, you see something ungodly. I can only imagine the things you've seen.
Well,
Does
I mean,
coming to jujitsu like help that?
yeah, it get your mind off it for a little bit, and I don't know, man. Yeah, like yeah, you're just like you're around people you like. It's
I,
not
I was
just
about to
sport.
say the group
Like,
mentality.
the group mentality, you're releasing endorphins and serotonin and all that good stuff. Um, Doing that. So I mean, it's just like working out after a breakup and stuff, and those endorphins that get released. There's that, but a lot of it was too, man. I mean, it kind of helped a lot. Like, and I think it's. I wouldn't say it's necessary for every cop's case that trains jujitsu and stuff. It is. It could be unique to my experience, but dude, we had some fucking felons training with us, and not gonna say any names, I still love them to death. Love them, mean it, and everything. And there's a few of them, but one of them had went to federal prison for many years and got out and was training with us. And it kind of helped that, what we could refer in the criminal justice terms, the us versus them mentality.
Right, right. Well, that's
And
the old saying? There's two types of people that do jujitsu: cops and potheads.
yeah,
Yeah,
I know, this guy was not a pothead.
he was just a felon.
That's a bad motherfucker, man. But I mean, he got
But it
out and was
bridged that
trying to,
gap.
he's trying to, and just sitting down and just talking with him. I mean, he was just telling us, I was like, dude, I never thought I'd sit in a room and speak to a cop,
Right.
and just about that shit, and that really changed my look on a lot of stuff. I mean, there's people that have fallen off the wagon that we've trained with and stuff, and they're not doing too good right now. And I pray the best for them, and I think about them every day. Just hope the best for them. But I see them every now and then, and I just wonder how they're doing. I just miss those conversations I
Yeah.
used to have, and now I've learned. That's one thing it's changed about me for the positive. I was like, man, as like just because they got a record or something like that and done some shit. And, it's you get down to sit and actually sit and talk to them outside of that line of work, and
We're all humans.
you're absolutely. And I mean that helped a lot with it, because you can say all you want. It's like, everyone's human, and everyone is human, but and that really helped with, man. That really did help with just like getting to know other people and everything. So I mean, it really helped that aspect. I mean, you just
Well,
you don't judge anybody. You don't judge anybody,
yeah.
man. I mean, I mean, I'd sit there and look at this scrawny kid, with glasses and stuff and broccoli hair, and there as they call the kids now, and you're just like, here you go. I'm about to fuck this dude up, and here I am, just you know, triangle choked unconscious almost. This kid kicked my ass, and you just don't judge, or nothing's predictable.
No. And I think that that brings up a good point, because as a police officer, unfortunately, a lot of times when people see a cop ride off of the bat, they already assume, like, oh, this guy's a dickhead. He's a cop. He probably sucks, or he's not. He's gonna think something bad about me. And I think I think jujitsu, where you have this, you don't have like well, you don't have, everybody assumes like a lawyer has money and he's an asshole. You don't have a social setting where you have some lawyer that makes $250,000 a year getting into a group and rolling around with people that are just blue collar guys. So I
Oh
think
yeah, man.
I think jujitsu kind of spreads, because I talk to people all the time where I'm like, yeah, I got a bunch of cop buddies, and they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, jujitsu. And I'm like, dude, they're good guys, and they're like, oh shit, really? And I'm like, yeah, I'm like, they're really, really good dudes. Now
Hey,
I know some cops that are assholes, but I also know
oh
some
yeah.
guys that are straight jujitsu practitioners, and I don't really like them. So
Yeah.
I think it
I
kind
think it
of
really
puts
mellow.
it
I
out
think
there.
jujitsu's like really mellowed us out. Like,
Yes, yeah.
I mean,
I have
it's
no
funny.
desire to get
We
into
can
a
go.
fight anymore. I'm like, no, I do not want to get into a fight in a bar. I mean, I don't go anywhere anyways anymore, but just knowing now, like, how easy it is somebody can get hurt or something, it's definitely mellowed me out. But it's also made me much more receptive to, like, just getting to know somebody.
Same. I mean, it's made me that, like, because we get really standoffish. You don't trust anybody. But then now I can go to a jiu-jitsu tournament, and we've all been to them, man. They smell like a Cypress Hill concert,
Yeah,
and you're just like, I don't give a shit, man. It's,
it's
I
part
don't
of it,
care.
man. No.
It's part of the culture, man.
Yeah.
Um, hell, they even got those jiu-jitsu tournaments now. It's like cops versus stoners
Oh
and
shit.
stuff. Oh, that's great, man. I think that's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
I think it's awesome, man. But yeah, no, jiu-jitsu's really helped me pick my bad guy and stuff. I mean, I was never a cop that wanted to just ticket people or
Fill the quota.
anything like that, just petty stuff. But I wanted to go after real bad guys.
Right.
But
So
jiu-jitsu's helped my career. Not
it
even. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
no. So you feel that jujitsu has actually improved your police career? Like
Oh, absolutely.
not just like your police work and handling situations, but it's actually been an improvement into your career, which money, long everything like that.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've got an opportunity to teach at the academy. I've taught in service. Um, I've taught in service. I've taught jujitsu class, or not necessarily classes, but lessons for. Like I said, we do so every year. We're mandated to do at least 40 hours of basically police training. Most of it involves mental health, crisis intervention. Um, Critical incidences, and then there's of course use of force, child sex assault, stuff like that. Um, so mostly we do a lot of stuff on mental health and like community relations, community policing, stuff like that. And so there's been times that they said, hey, well, why don't you do a little bit of jujitsu or grappling of this since I am a defensive tactics instructor. And I tell you what, I do hate teaching people that have been on the force for a long time because much like old men, we're all set in our own ways,
Right.
and they're just kind of like, I'd rather teach the academy.
The
I'd
younger
rather get
guys.
some, yeah, the younger guys. They're eager and stuff like that to learn. But of course, even if one person learns out of the hundreds or so people that I teach, it's worth it.
Yeah, that as long as at least one person takes something away, and that's like with me doing this, obviously I don't expect to have thousands of views or anything, but if at least one person just says, "Hey, I watched you and your buddy that's a police officer," and it kind of made me think like, all right, maybe the next time I get pulled over, this guy's not just trying to take me to jail or trying to give me
Yeah,
the
it's like, oh
ticket.
fuck, like,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. No. Yeah,
uh,
if I can at least like give something to one or two people, that's the goal. And like you said, I'm more mellowed out now between just being old and you get injured more. I've got more
Dude, I'm injured
time.
right now. Yeah, I'm injured
Yeah,
right now.
yeah.
I was training last Tuesday. I pulled my groin, man. Dude, everything from my knee up to my pelvis is just black right now. This is
Ugh,
this is what you get for not stretching. For your viewers and stuff, you want to get into
hang them
this.
out.
Yeah, yeah, dude, stretch, guys. Don't go in there rolling cold. It's
Yeah,
because I'm sorry if
I've
you weight and do this, it ain't happening, man. You better stretch.
yeah, I've been plagued by injuries. It seems like I've kind of been on a hiatus here recently, debating where I'm gonna go and what I'm gonna do. That's a story for another time. But I miss everybody. I stay in contact though, and I still pop in here and there. But
Yeah,
yeah, injuries is one of those things where I think probably the worst one was it was up in Chattanooga at Billy's gym, at that first gym that he had, and
yeah.
we were doing like shotgun fights in the cage. I was doing 3 rounds, 3 5-minute rounds with a guy, and he's smaller than me, and it was great. And there was probably maybe 20 seconds left in the third round, and he got me in like a belly down armbar. I mean, I was doing perfectly fine on the feet and everything, and I was like, all right, I don't got much gas. I'm just gonna take this dude down. I was like, I can't throw anymore. I can't kick anymore, and I could see the clock, and I was like, I'll just tough it out. I got this. I got this. And it ruptured the bursa sac, which is essentially what like lubricates your elbow. And dude, I was like, why? I'm not getting
Yeah.
paid for this shit, you know.
Oh yeah, I'd get bursitis in my hips and shit
Ugh.
all the time. And you're like, fuck, like the most crucial point, the most crucial joints in jujitsu, your hips and stuff. I mean, yeah, that's what keeps wanting to fuck up on me. But yeah, dude. I mean, like this last year, I've torn a pec trying to bench press over 300. I've torn my hamstring, and now I have brutally like torn this to the point I probably tore my hip labrum in my right hip. But I pulled my groin horribly. Like it was embarrassing. I screamed like a little girl. Like just heard just rip it and just got. I was
The,
like, oh no, fuck.
the
But
worst
it's
part is when do you like the person you were rolling with? Is it somebody you've rolled with a lot?
Oh yeah, we weren't, dude. We weren't even. I say roll. We weren't even roll. We were drilling.
Oh
This is
God.
drilling. Yeah, this is drilling. That's how fucking old I am. It's just like, dude, I just turned wrong,
Oh
and it just
Papa.
happened. Yeah, that's.
Yeah, that's the I think that's worse is whenever I've gotten hurt and I'm like, oh, I know this guy, I know what he's gonna do. I'll do this and I'm fine. And then next thing I know, I'm like, all right, that's broke or that's torn, that's
Get that
bruised.
walk of shame out of there. It's
Yep, yep. Yeah, that's the worst. So now, obviously, detective, it's much more chill. Obviously, what is like the like where do you go from here? You know what's the plan? I'm assuming like police forces. This is lifelong for you. This is career.
yeah. Well, right now, I want to try to get into writing some articles. As far as I enjoy writing. So my fiance, she's in college, of course, and um, right now the goal is just to get her through college and get her. I've got my dreams. I mean, I do everything I want to as far as grappling and working out, my hobbies and stuff. I mean, she wants to get through school, so I'm not really concentrating on. When I was trying to make detective and stuff, man, I was going to Mississippi and all kinds of places for like interview and interrogation schools and all this other stuff, trying to pump my resume. Well, I'm here, so I'm just trying to learn more of my craft as an investigator, and just essentially, help my wife get through school.
Gotcha. Now
And
you're a new stepdad too, right?
I am,
So are you gonna get this kid on the mats? What's the plan there?
dude. I'm trying. So his biological dad is real supportive and stuff. Me and him get along.
That's good. That's
And,
the best thing
yeah,
right there.
no, dude, yeah, we have it's pretty cool. He don't overstep his bounds, I don't overstep mine. But his dad's dad, his grandfather, he was once again. This is a wrestling town, man. He was very, 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 very well known wrestler in this area. And him and I both just like, yeah, we just want to get him on the mats if we can. If he doesn't, oh well, he's looking towards more being like the musician kid. But
Nothing wrong with
so much
that.
have support.
He's not
Nothing
gonna be.
wrong with it.
No, he won't be sore as shit when he's in his
Yeah,
30s
exactly.
like us.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, he can't turn his neck and shit. But I mean, it's. But I mean, I would like it.
Yeah,
Right now I'm trying to get him to come in. Right now
I
he's
think
at
it's
that
very
age where he doesn't like
intimidating.
anything. Yeah,
Yeah,
everything's really intimidating. He don't like anything, man.
yeah.
I remember his biological dad was telling me, it's like, dude, I had to thread to like never take him to the park again if he didn't eat this grilled cheese. It's just like, if you didn't just try it, you know?
It's great, I swear.
Yeah. It's, yeah, you're just like, dude, fucking eat, man. It's like that comedian Louis C.K. say. He was like, fucking eat your footprints, your footprints at the hospital. You're on the grid, man. You got to eat. I was like, they know you belong to me. So it's,
Yeah, I think it's tough too, and in society, I think that a lot of people are like, as far as like extracurricular activities or whatever you want to call it, like going and playing baseball or basketball or even football is so much more like acceptable. And I'm going to tell you right now, I know way more guys that have played football that are, especially in the head and stuff, suffer a lot worse than we do. But I think as far as combat extracurricular activities, I think that there has been a pretty good shift as to like, no, it's a good thing. It's good for you. You know,
It
it's
is. I mean,
becoming
I think
acceptable.
so. Speaking about this, and I haven't read any science that backs this up, man. But this is just my own perspective is, I'm not quoting anybody, I'm not citing anybody on this, but I was like, but my experience, a lot of kids, there people are quick to diagnose children with ADD, ADHD, shit like that, and that may be the case. There may be a shitload of kids now than there was back then with ADHD and ADD. You try to sit in an outfield waiting for a ball to hit you, saying, "Hey, batter, batter," over and over. You're bored as shit
Yeah, yeah,
as a kid, and you're just like, dude, I can't fucking wait to get out. It's like that South Park episode, The Losing Edge, where they're like, they're every ball team is trying to lose so they don't move on to the championship, so they
yeah,
actually have summer off. You
yeah.
know
Well, we've
that
been for the longevity that we've been doing this. There were kids that were 10, 11, 12 years old that are grown men essentially now that I know. And
16 years old will whip your ass at
yeah,
16.
well, and
All right.
some of these kids, dude, I remember when they came in, they sucked. They were idiots. They were just little shits. And now I'm like,
You're
jujitsu
better
is,
than I am.
and I mean, and they're focused and they show up and they work out, and I'm like, there's something to say that like I think having a sensei, a coach, whatever you want to call it, is really good, for kids. And I think with jujitsu especially, like, you know, anything under pressure, that's how you make a diamond. There's something about going in there and being put in an uncomfortable situation. Like if it's just traditional sports and it's like, hey, go run. Like, yeah, that sucks. But I'm gonna tell you right now, if somebody said, what's worse, going and running a mile or having some guy twice your size lay on top of you and make you feel like, hey, I could just kill you. The running is much easier, you know.
Yeah. Well, but yeah, another thing I was getting at though is like as far as like okay, like you're constantly bored in these sports and you're just waiting for shit to happen. Man, when you get on the mats, man, I mean, you got jujitsu. The beautiful thing about this is it's uh, well, my fat ass right now, man, it's probably a lot more physical than it is mental. But um, there's the mental strain, and which probably helps with the mental health thing because I think that's why more people are more tired after jujitsu because you're not only physically exhausted, you're mentally
It's
exhausted.
chess. I mean,
It
it's
is
chess.
chess. So not only that, so when you're that age and you're waiting for, say, you're sitting, midfield out on a baseball field, waiting for a line drive to get hit at you. That bell rings on the mat, and you're going to battle, man. I mean, you're problem solving right there. You are constantly
Yeah, from the get
moving,
go.
thinking. You're not only thinking of how to can you go forward with your offense. It's like what can I do to defend or bait. There's just so much mentally going on physically as well. So your students are constantly engaged, and that's why I think a lot of people that train jujitsu are some of the smartest people I've ever met.
Yeah, I
So
know a lot of really well, and I mean, we know, as crazy as it is. I've been on the mats with. I remember seeing a guy come in one time, and he was in like a suit and glasses, and was like 135 pounds, and I was like, and he was probably in his early to mid 30s, and in my mind, I was just like, who the fuck is this nerd? And I asked somebody, I'm like, who is that? And next thing I know, I see him walk out. Dude's like a 3 or 4 stripe purple belt, and they're like, oh, that's so and so. He's a lawyer, and I'm like, what? And dude's a straight savage, man.
yeah.
And I mean, we obviously know another guy that's from the town we live in. He's a black belt, an old dude, and I mean, that's a guy that you see at the courthouse and shit.
Oh yeah. Straight kill
So
somebody if
yeah,
you want
just
to.
take you out.
Yeah, man. That's like even if you like he's Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about, man. I mean,
I saw him the
it's
other day, and he was like, "Where are you at? You better be training." And I was like, "God forbid I get like in trouble or a ticket, and this dude's gonna send me to jail because he hadn't seen me on the mats, not because of what I did."
oh yeah,
Yeah, that's a good dude right there. But yeah, I think it's good for everyone, you know, and I think that kids, adults, the fact that it can help so many people in so many different areas, physically, mentally is where it really helped me. I can physically tell a difference in my mental, like if I'm struggling or not when I take
oh yeah.
a month or 2 months off from the gym. Like, and with the stuff that's been going on the past 6 months, I've had to take some breaks, and I'm in such a better headspace when I'm like, I went yesterday and got the shit kicked out of me because I'm like, I know if I can survive that, there's no reason I can't wake up today, you know, go work, go take care of the kids. If I can do what I did yesterday in the gym, if I can do 5 rounds, if I was able to submit that guy that I've never submitted before, if I can do that, all the rest of this shit is easy. It's just light work.
It is, man. I mean, you sleep so good too. Coming back, you get that fresh shower in the evening after you get home from rolling and everything, and it just dude, like I said, man, because it does it play. It's not just a physical thing; it is a mental thing. It doesn't heal you. I think the healing, a lot of it comes from the challenges.
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, I fell in this position. If I fall right here, he's going to go for this. I need to defend this, or I can move on. I can transition to this move, and this one fails. I can transition to this. I got this sweep here. I can. It's it's constant, it's constant. And you're like, well, fuck, I need to get to full guard or something so I can take a break.
Yeah, just
And
to
the school
survive.
the school I go to now, man, full guard is highly looked down upon. Nothing, yeah, nothing about it. Great. It's a great aspect. Love Apex Jiu Jitsu and stuff for it. But yeah, I mean, I'm a fat dude, man. I just want to pull guard sometimes and just lay. It's like, leave me alone.
Just hang out
But
for a minute.
and luckily they're just luckily my coach and everyone's like, yeah, no, we need to be moving.
Yeah,
And
and you've got a great you at Apex. You've got a great coach in Pack. I mean,
we do. Yeah, Pack is great. Yeah,
he's
Pack
he's
is
he's a
absolutely great.
I don't have anything bad to say about him. And you've got Royal. I've known Royal since he was just a kid, and to see like how he's grown up into a man, and I mean,
Full man.
he's
You
a
you
fucking
realize how long you've been
savage.
training, man? Like you're like,
I
fuck,
feel
I've been on
old as
that 8
shit.
years.
Yeah,
It's like, is this kid fucking 21 years old now? I
yeah.
met him when he was 8 years ago when he was a
A
preteen.
baby, yeah, a baby, and now he's out there built like a Greek god, just taking names, dude.
Yeah,
Um,
it's like, feel me. I got, I'm bald head with tattoos and a beard, and I'm getting tapped out and destroyed by
by
a 21-year
Fabio.
old in a man bun. It's like it's getting
Oh shit.
murdered,
Yeah.
murdered. And hell, it's like my coach. My coach is in his late 40s. Man, he is destroying me.
A
I mean, of
hundred,
course,
a
he's been doing
hundred
it a
and
long.
yeah. What?
Yeah, dude, I
150
outweigh him
pounds,
by
man.
100
Yeah.
pounds. Man, he's
And he
he's
will
killing
put
me.
you out. Yeah. Pack's a savage, man.
Yeah,
It,
Pack.
it's
Yeah,
it's a
Pack.
great
Pack is no
school.
joke, dude. Pack's no joke.
Yeah, we're very, very lucky to have good places.
Yeah,
I've still got family that's going there and training, and it really is a blessing to have gyms like that in
it
our
really is.
area because there's a lot of places where I've got people that I talk to all over the country, and they're like, man, I wish there was somewhere good, and I'll be like, let me look it up, and all they've got in their area is some like random franchise of whatever, it's
Videotape style, damn.
yeah,
Damn, I mean,
yeah.
and I
And
try not to talk
we
shit about any.
I
Yeah, but,
we've got a couple of those too, and I try not to hate on them too much. At least they're doing something, but places like what we had back in the day and like what PAX got going on at Apex, those are the places you really want to get in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's like obviously you want the jujitsu to be great, and having striking is a big plus because I think everybody needs to be well rounded, but you also just want to
Yeah,
have
that's
a
where I
good,
like.
yeah, you
Yeah,
want to have a
striking's
good
where
group
I
of
like. Yeah.
people too, and I think that's really the hardest part to like build at a gym is that core group of people because just like with the police force and the military, you get that same, that bond, that camaraderie, that essentially a family, you
You
know.
do, man. You do. It's
I think that's just as important, if not more important, maybe than jujitsu as well. Well, I want to get things wrapped up here. Dude, you're awesome. I love you to death. I
love you
appreciate
too, man.
everything you've done for the country, from your military service to what you're doing for our community on the police force, to what you're doing in the gym. I'd love to have you back on. If there's anybody that you think I'd want to talk to, send them my way. I plan on
Absolutely.
keep doing this for a while. Um, Guys, once again, good friend of mine, great guy. You know, uh, Obviously, I'm not going to be tagging him or giving out his info, but he did me a great favor coming on and talking with me. We're
I
going
had
to
a
get out
blast.
of here. Yep. If you, like always, if you've got anything nice to say, leave it in the comments. If you've got anything bad to say, definitely leave it in the comments. Have a good one. We'll see you next time.
See you, Greg. Love you, brother.
See you, man.